All right, call the meeting to order tonight, August 28th, 2023. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looking for an approval of the agenda.
I'd like to add the RSU 21 Board of Directors meeting.
And we're going to table the minutes of August 14th till the next meeting.
Yes.
Anything else? Motion as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Phil. All those in favor? Public forum. Anybody in the public want to speak on some non-agenda items? Seeing none. Anybody on the board? No. Dan.
All right, this is the Monday, August 21st, RSU School Board of Directors meeting. Public comment. There was just a couple of members that got up and discussed the school had changed their band practice, how they handle that. So there were some members of the general public that were not happy about that and just kind of went over and made their point. Consent agenda items, the resignation of Margaret Waddle, special education schools psychologist, resignation of Lorraine Curtis, math teacher at KHS, nomination of Carolyn DuBois, French teacher, Kennebunk High School, salary of $77,250. Nomination of Michelle Shirley, special education resource room teacher at Kennebunk High School, salary of $84,038. Nomination of Eva Hernandez, world language teacher at Kennebunk High School, salary of $76,157. Nomination of Farouzi Sherry, assistant principal at KHS, salary of $105,000. Nomination of Joyce Purley, math teacher at MSK, salary of $81,323. Nomination of Dakota Joy, social studies teacher, MSK, salary of $47,564. Nomination of Ann Beltran, school counselor at KES, salary of $61,941. It might have been $51,941. I didn't quite catch that. And nomination of Amanda Sear, life skills teacher at MSK, salary of $45,795. The superintendent talked about the school board retreat that they had on August 7th. They did a bunch of team building activities. And of course, they did a handful of school board work. Committee reports. They did a finance report, which Velma updated us at the last meeting. They did mention that they had approved two community members, Matt Fadiman and Bill Hetzel. For policy. And on the finance committee, I don't know if you mentioned this, Velma, or not, but Gail Spofford was nominated as the chair. Yeah, good. Policy, Claudia Sayer was nominated at the chair. And they had a vote on one community member, which was Zach Shapiro, which is Kristen's, one of our board members. It's her husband's. And then they reviewed 11 policies, but they will be bringing a bunch of those to the next meeting. They didn't have any policies to bring at the current meeting. Board chair update. There is a Maine School Management Association's annual meeting on October 21st. And then she talked a little bit about the symposium that it happened on Thursday, the 24th. They motioned to adjourn into executive session at 7:30 PM.
Thank you, Dan. Yep, I know you came late. Did you have something you wanted to talk about, a public forum or anything? Right. Mr. Manager.
Yes, just give you an idea of some of the tasks, the information for the TIF to be submitted to DECD has gone to the attorney, and he had got back to me late last week. There's one document that needs to be re-signed by the clerk in terms of advertising in the paper. They require that we actually have a copy of what appeared in the paper as opposed to what the billing document was. So we've made that modification. And then there was one piece from the tax assessor that had to be like the original. So I have that in, and Beth is on vacation. She'll be back on Wednesday, so I'll have her sign that. And their papers then will be submitted to the attorney and then reviewed and then sent on to DECD. So we're pretty close to wrapping that up. I received
Any idea once it's sent to the state, how long that takes?
no idea. I'll ask the attorney though. Phil may have an idea on that. The DEP sent me a letter indicating that they're at tier 3 investigation of PFAS within the state of Maine and have identified areas within Arundel that land spreading had occurred dating back to 1986. There are 5 locations in town, one on Curtis Road, one on Downing Road, one on Irving and Brimstone Roads, and 2 on Hill Road. So it encompasses 264.6 acres of land. And so from what I gathered from the report, it was bioash from SD Warren on 2 locations. And the rest was a variety of land sludge spreading from 3 sanitary districts within our area from the town of Kennebunk, Wells, and Ogunquit. So we'll have to wait for those reports once they're done, and they'll probably give us a understanding of what they are. There was one well too that was identified on Curtis Road that they're monitoring as well.
Is that a well that is on the farm or is that a residential well?
Yeah, I believe it's a well that's on the farm.
Yeah, so they haven't done any testing at all on residential wells, have they?
That is correct.
Yeah, I mean, what about the folks that live like real close?
Yeah.
As I asked Henry about that, because I was concerned about my
Sure.
well. And Henry said, yeah, no, you gotta go test it. And, it's like a couple, $300 to get it tested for PFAS. And
Right.
then if there's issues, then you contact the state.
Do they have any grant? I don't believe they have any grants available
No, I don't
for,
think so.
for a private sector
No,
or
it didn't
you
sound
as a
like from what
resident.
Henry, that
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense for residential.
Right, you would
you know,
have to
the-
put in one of those systems that would eliminate the PFAS from the water.
Yeah, cheap.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll continue to monitor it, and as soon as the state provides more data, I'll share it with you folks. I have I neglected at your last business meeting to have you on behalf of the Arundel Historical Society to, though you approved it, to sign their mass gathering permit. Unless I hear any strong objections, I'll just send it on down. I think I've highlighted where it needs to be signed, and I'll leave it for you folks to sign. And my last piece is that I would like to have some sort of motion and action on it. I've requested that you confirm my appointment of Andy Stevenson as fire chief for the Arundel Fire Department. I have the document here. If you approve it, then I'll send it down for signatures.
Did you look for anyone else, or you just seen that he assumed that he's been doing a pretty good job?
No, he's been doing it since February of this year and done it, I looked upon it as for several factors. Number one, he really stepped up, took responsibility, took over some of the tasks that were needed to be done. Has done a very good job. And when I asked him to step in as interim chief until we had a status on Chief Bollier, he did that as well. So, he's crossed all the bridges for me.
See a motion for that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept Andy Stevenson as recommended fire chief for the town of Arundel, recommended by the manager for the town of Arundel.
I'll second that.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Velma. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Good. I'll send that down for signatures. And that's all I have there, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have an application for liquor license, Vinegar Hill.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm sure there's a representative from Vinegar Hill, but if I can just sort of provide a little history, and then you can talk with them as well. Last year, when you approved the license for Vinegar Hill, you had indicated in your minutes of September 15th that there were certain functions that they had to complete as they move forward. Obviously, on or before December 31st, the business shall submit a complete application to the planning board seeking expansion of their business, to include outdoor activities, catering functions, weddings, corporate gatherings, as well as traditional indoor music functions. Once I knew that, I began to look back, and obviously, it's my opinion that they did do all the things that they were required to do. They submitted their complete application to the planning board prior to December 31st. I think they then reviewed it and had a complete application with the planning board sometime in January. There were conditions that were placed on the business that I think are still pending, particularly the outdoor stage area that plans need to be submitted for the stage structure and have them stamped by a structural engineer, and permits have to then be issued by the code officer before they can start using that outside activity area. So based on the information that I looked at, I believe, unless I hear any strong objections, that they meet all the requirements at this time. Even though they're not using the outdoor area, they still haven't, they still don't have final approval for that yet until they complete those tasks. So it's my view that they meet the requirements.
So is this, go ahead, Dan.
So they can use the outdoor area, right? They just can't use the stage, and they can't have more than 350 people, correct?
Well, I don't think they have, it's my view, I don't think they have any use of the outdoor parking area quite yet, because they don't have the stage. Now, they could, I suppose they could have people mulling around, but they have no function out there at this point. And though they are though the planning board has given them approval to move forward under certain conditions, they just haven't met those conditions yet. So I think with the application, what they're trying to do is the same thing they did last year once they came in and spoke to you. This is the process. We'd like to have it on our liquor license in the event that we complete the things that the planning board has asked us to complete, and then we can use that. That's the way I interpret it. at this point.
Or allow patrons to go outside with liquor during an intermission, right? Or something to that effect, would that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any restrictions there based on what I've seen here and what was approved. The, they do have, they have the ability to have food trucks at 3 separate locations within the facility. The food truck vendors have come and continue to go through the process with the select board after those approvals. So I think they're meeting the minimum requirements that we've asked them to meet.
Velma, you had a question, I didn't want.
Velma does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, turn that thing on. So if we give them approval, it gives them approval even for the big parking lot, but not until they have permission for that stage. Is that correct?
That's my view of it. Yes, they're asking for it. They
Yeah.
just don't have approval to have any outside function related to that stage yet.
Or to that area of the big parking lot? I know the small parking lot out front they use for
Right.
catered events and things, but that big parking lot, they would have no need to have liquor out there unless they had approval for the stage.
Well, I wouldn't, I don't know if you would object to it. I wouldn't object, as Dan described. They have an intermission for an activity inside. Somebody has a glass of wine or beer and they walk outside to walk around a little bit. I see that's permissible based on what they've done in the past.
And they're asking for that area because that's the unpaved parking lot.
Yes,
Right, they're asking for that area, so.
thank you.
I did include in the packet, you did have a memo from the planner with consulting with the code officer. You had the minutes from September 15th to review, and then you had the final determinations by the planning board as part of this, so you could look at those before you make your final decision.
I'll make a motion that we approve the liquor license for Vinegar Hill for 2023.
So a motion by Dan. Do I see a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Velma. Is there any more discussion on this?
Yeah, actually, I just saw, so this expiration date is 9/18, so they just renewal expiration date of 9/18. Is that the current license? Or they're asking for this to expire on 9/18?
They have a renewal license that will expire on 9/18.
Right, so this.
So this will push them to
next year, this-
9/18/2024.
Okay,
Motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor for approval of the liquor license? One abstention.
I'll send it down for your signatures. There's a yellow tab there to provide it.
We just have a payable tonight. That's it. Motion by Velma. Second by Phil. All those in favor? Write the checks. And now we need a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion, we go to executive session, MRSA 4056A, compensation of an employee.
At 7:21. All those in favor of that?
We have a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Second by Velma. Thanks for coming, folks.